I think we're good to go.
Okay. So as we call this meeting to order, shall we just start with roll call? I'll let you do it.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, I'll do the roll call now. Rod Beck. Yes. Trevor Chadwick. Here. Miranda Gold.
Here.
Brad Holton. Dan Heyer.
Here.
Debbie Kling.
Here.
Lindy Lindstrom. Mary May.
Here.
Lauren McLean.
Here.
John Overton.
Here.
Joe Steer.
Here.
Jerem Wagner. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Awesome. Okay, so open discussion. I think you had an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to remind the Executive Committee again about the Leadership in Motion Awards. The period for nominations is open and is continuing through Friday, September 26th, so still plenty of time. But I encourage you to spread the word and give consideration to any projects or individuals you might be worthy. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other discussion items? See anybody jumping up? Okay, so consent agenda. I would stand for motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the August 12th, 2025 Executive Committee meeting minutes.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Well, yeah, I. Any opposed? I'm sorry. You know, at city council, you kind of go between what is a roll call and an yeah. So in my head, all of a sudden I went, oh no. Okay, so on to action items. For our first action item is for A, and this is to establish the October 2025 Compass Board meeting agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this item, the materials for this item start on page 5 in your packet. Page 6 is where the current agenda items go. So the items on page 5 and then the top of page 6 are sort of standing items that we roll over and include if necessary. Then current agenda items for consent items would be setting the schedule for board meetings next year and providing the 30-day notice of the annual meeting as well. Then approving priorities for rural projects. We have a modified or updated social media policy. It's just been updated to sort of keep us with the times. That would also be on consent. And then we'd move to a presentation from Valley Regional Transit on their Valley Connect 3.0 plan, which came up during the board meeting. And so we wanted to give them the opportunity to present and discuss how that plan is taking shape as well. And then we move into action items. We have the standard placeholder right now for a TIP amendment. May or may not need that one. October is a bit early frequently for TIP amendments, but we still keep it in the agenda as it's developing now. Next item would be approving the fiscal year 2026 Compass Resource Development Plan. Then we would move to approving the 2026 state legislative positions. Those would be, we'll be discussing those today. And then the executive committee will have an opportunity to make its recommendation to the board on those at the executive committee's October meeting. And then last item would be an information item, just an update on the resilience improvement plan that we now have underway. Then the rest of the items in your packet, so through page 11, are just previewing future months, but not going obviously into the October agenda.
Are there any questions? No, with that, then I would stand for a motion to approve the proposed Compass board meeting agenda.
And with the option
To amend or add to it.
As Craig.
Thank you so much.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it passes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve board member travel request.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before we move to that, I just want to note for the record that Commissioner Lindstrom has joined the meeting and Mayor Wagner has joined the meeting. Okay, so this next item is to approve the board member travel for Mayor Chadwick to attend the National Association of Regional Councils 2025 Executive Directors Conference and Board Retreat, which is October 5th through the 8th in Portland, Maine. This is just a standard item. Board member travel is required approval per our finance policy from the executive committee.
We used to discuss that he had to drive his Jeep.
Yeah, that'd be a long drive.
Yeah.
Long drive.
Probably cheaper than the flight.
Have to go overland.
Thank you for representing us, and I think it's awesome that you're on the board. So good for you. Is there a motion to approve his?
Madam Chair, I move we approve travel authorization for Trevor Chadwick to attend the National Association of Regional Councils 2025 Executive Directors Conference and Board Retreat, October 5th through the 8th, 2025 in Portland.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next item on the agenda, C, is it's going to be a motion to authorize a call for the 2026 Compass Board of Directors, Secretary Treasurer nominations. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So this one is just in accordance with the bylaws. The executive committee solicits nominations from voting members of the board for officer slate, and then also per the bylaws, current officers advance in their positions. And so really typically the remaining open position is secretary treasurer position. So this authorized me to, on behalf of the executive committee, solicit nominations. Nominations will be open until prior to the executive committee's meeting before the December board meeting.
And in this one, we had talked briefly about rotation, Ada County, Canyon County. So
It's not written into the bylaws, but by tradition, this position and all the officer positions alternate between Ada County and Canyon County. And so this would, if that pattern follows, this would be a nominee from Canyon County.
Let me just ask a question regarding that. With who gone? Mayor Wagner is up for election, stuff like that. What, and I guess we have Dan, right? And then we have what, 4?
oh, we have Brad Holm.
Oh, Brad also. So he would be 4 though. Right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
And is Zach's on the board, the Compass. We have others on the board, but not on.
Not on the, okay. All right.
Who are not, who aren't participating in executive committee or finance committee, who aren't sort of taking leadership role or.
Good. I guess it wasn't a question, I was more of a talk through, I guess, to see what was available, I guess.
That was my
But I mean,
question.
can we take a Ada County 1 vote too? I mean, I know it's not in the bylaws that way, but.
Well, the way it's written, nominations are, I'm 99% sure, I'm looking maybe at Meg, who probably knows these two, but nominations can come from anywhere in the membership.
Okay.
However, that pattern has always been what follows, and then it will follow the executive committee at your meeting prior to the general board meeting in December to put together the slate that then moves forward to the board meeting.
Okay.
And we should just vote on this achievement. Officers.
So would there be a motion to authorize, this is just authorizing the call.
Yeah, so make a motion to authorize the call. So.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the call for the 2026
You want to
Compass
see
Board.
this one too? Oh, okay.
What was it?
I wanted,
Oh.
you want leniency in this one too.
I can find the exact wordage from the previous times this happened, that's what I was.
And that was for the Secretary Treasurer nominations. Okay, so there's a motion and a second. You got them both? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, now on to information discussion items. Our legislative, our state 2026 state legislative positions and strategies.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's give just a moment to bring the slides up.
Mine.
Confirm that they're working,
Yes, no.
not working.
I know,
There we go.
there,
Okay. So this is just continuing our discussions about potential 2026 legislative positions and strategy. And so I'm just going to review a little bit of stuff and then hopefully we can discuss the changes as opposed to trying to open up new ground. But if anyone has other topics that they want to raise, please feel free to. So just anticipating, we are going to very soon be initiating a procurement to bring on a government affairs consultant, essentially a lobbyist. We have no one in mind. It'll be an open procurement, but we'll initiate that very soon. I'm trying to get the final touches to the scope so that I can get that to Meg and we can get that process moving. And we'll try to bring that firm or individual on board as quickly as possible. Then we're also continuing to build into that strategy, I guess, holding a legislative summit of some type for the region, inviting the entire Treasure Valley delegation to talk about the position for the region, as well as any incremental proposals or initiatives that we're considering. That would be sometime late fall, early winter, so November, December timeframe. Then next would be this Compass hosted statewide MPO legislative event that would be early in the session with the goal of partnering with our other MPOs around the state to educate about transportation issues in all of the urbanized areas of the state, inviting all the legislators and hoping to broaden support for the priorities and or any of the incremental ideas that we have.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Please.
Have we identified a date?
No.
November for the first one. I would suggest we get that done right away because it's going to be tight.
Yes,
The schedule.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's definitely noted, and we're working with, I'll say, alacrity to try to figure that out. So next is just to talk about positions and sort of our engagement process. So based on the conversations that we've had and some of the feedback after the previous executive committee presentations on this, as well as the board, I'm at least proposing that we keep the existing 2025 positions, and they're in your packet in a marked up red line document to be able to show what those are. And I have the language of changes up on a couple slides here in a moment. Then we're proposing adding a position that connects housing development to transportation system performance, cost efficiency, and long-term infrastructure sustainability. We'll unpack that a little bit here in a minute as well. We would concentrate our engagement activities on incremental changes, but those are not part of the proposed legislative positions because they can be very dependent on language, on actual legislative language, and sort of when the opportunities would arise, they will be discussed with the executive committee and the board so that we can then try to act on those as they start gaining some kind of traction, which is a word for those in the room that would be showing up on your screen were it not for the faces of the other participants. That's fine. No, it's fine. I told everyone, so we're good. And then the last sort of strategic process or engagement strategy is just sort of allowing us to be flexible and responsive to other emerging legislative issues, so long as we're staying within the framework of the adopted position statements, our adopted plans from the board, and established MPO responsibilities. So just the ability, if we hear about something that has just come up, to be able to act within that framework immediately, rather than having to wait until we have the next standing meeting, or we could try to pull together some kind of an emergency meeting if it comes up, which we will do if something rises to the level where that becomes the appropriate, activity. Okay, so the modified position statement relating to growth, and this is specifically for the property tax cap language. And this is based on some of the feedback that I got in talking with executive committee members. Would be changing the language that currently reads that Compass supports removing the property tax cap and changing that to adjusting the property tax cap. It doesn't seem likely that removal is very feasible. But maybe finding a way to adjust it that benefits local taxing districts is still possible. And then part of that is trying to justify why an adjustment would be beneficial. To note that it's also used to help pay for the ongoing operations and maintenance costs that are associated with new development, and not just for the infrastructure needs that are directly related to new development. So what's on the screen? Oh,
sorry to interrupt. I had the slides were visible, and then I don't know if I changed something on mine or not, but now I can't see them, and was just wondering if whoever's there could tell me if I did something wrong, or if they're not being shared anymore.
It's
just a moment.
it's still showing that it's sharing.
I see it.
You can see it? Yeah, I had it, and then I tried to adjust the gallery and it disappeared. All right, thank you. I'll keep working on it.
We'll be reading everything, and everything else that's in the next slide at least is in your packet as well. So the content on the next slide is in your packet as well. And I can pause on any of these if anyone has any questions or feedback on the draft language. But I don't see any, so I'll continue.
I'm good.
Okay, so the next statement is a draft position statement that relates to housing, and as I've noted, it's intended to tie housing to transportation infrastructure and infrastructure planning, as opposed to trying to address broader housing issues. It's really intended to focus it on the things that are directly related to, what we do in our role as the Metropolitan Planning Organization. So the draft language reads, Compass supports state policies that enhance regional and local efforts to align housing availability with transportation investments and infrastructure planning. Policies that promote a range of housing options, particularly in areas with existing or planned transportation infrastructure, can help improve regional mobility, economic opportunity, infrastructure efficiency, and make addressing housing undersupply more feasible. Compass encourages legislation that supports local flexibility, market-driven solutions, and voluntary tools to improve housing outcomes that are coordinated with transportation systems. And
Let's. Thoughts? Nope.
all right. And feel free to, if anyone wants to talk about these outside of here, we do have plenty of time. This will still come to the executive committee again in October before making the recommendation to the board. So if you have a thought or an idea or a suggestion or a concern, please feel free to raise it, now or individually with me, and I'll translate that into to the next board meeting or to the next executive committee meeting and potentially change the language.
I think you've done a good job as I'm reading it, because for me, I do have this thing. Why are we in the housing? Affordable housing, the housing is very important, but our focus is transportation. I think this has done a good job of bringing them together. And that was what I'm looking for, is bringing the two together, because it really, and it's so important that on the housing side, that the especially public transportation options are there aligned with housing. So from a planning and zoning standpoint, when we're looking at where we're locating, that public transportation can be aligned with it. And that's something we're trying to do in the city of Nampa, but especially in Canyon County, where we're more rural. This is talking public transportation, but just transportation as a whole, right? Looking at how you bring those together in the infrastructure, because it is one of the number one things we're talking that we hear it hearings, public hearings. There's so much talk about transportation related to it, or lack thereof, right? The improvements that are needed. So this is I think you've done a good job of bringing the two together. So that's my only comment. That was a long, short comment. Whatever it's worth. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is just to sort of review again the incremental proposals that have been discussed and raised so far. Like I said, we're not going to be, unless the executive committee wants to take a different approach. As it stands now, I'm not proposing that we formally adopt any of these incremental proposals, but that we use these based on a discussion. These all fit within the framework of the position statements. And so we would use these as a way to raise ideas. And if they start to, if it looks like there's opportunities to advance them, then we would come to the executive committee to be able to more formally push for some of these or promote them. But it's the idea of just putting these out now so that we kind of know some of the ideas that are out there and we can have some to talk about without having them be formally adopted by the board.
What does it say behind the screens?
Right, you can so
Drop the screen.
yeah, let's go ahead and minimize it because we are losing some words here, but it should affect everyone.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So everyone should,
Oops, sorry, that was me, just making sure it's
I
working.
can fix it. Okay, so yeah, so the four basic proposals under the growth and revenue side are allowing the full value of new development to be added to the tax base, basically addressing the 90% limit for new development, allowing the full value of properties after tax increment financing period ends. I keep blanking on the name, urban redevelopment zones, I believe.
Urban renewal.
Urban renewal, yeah.
So do you think
after those
that
periods end.
clearly, so allow full value, I guess, after tax increment financing period?
We can probably clarify what that means. I mean, I'm sure we can clarify it so that,
It probably needs to be a little bit,
yeah, but basically what that is as I understand it now.
80% that
Exactly,
20% goes to push our levy even more. Which is hard.
right. And noting too, that these are all intended as, they could either be something through legislative action that would make them just permissible or could make them just, basically removing that element of restriction. The next one is enhancing county's ability to utilize development-related impact fees, although the exact approach compromise for how that might work, I think would require some coordination, particularly at the statewide level between IAC and AIC. But those are something that are another way that could potentially be not a broad, huge proposal, but a narrowly scoped proposal. And then another one is the idea of a one-time stabilization or reset of the road and bridge funds and the way that revenue bases were set for those. So apparently one of the impacts from HB 389 has been that some of the highway districts, not Ada County, but in smaller counties and around the state, have been shifting the primary source of their funds to the pot of money that isn't required to be shared with local governments. And so allowing a one-time reset back to the levels where the local governments were getting a proportion of monies that were collected for road funds is basically what this proposal is relating to. Then under housing related, I'll just start by noting that, once the legislative task force makes its recommendations, these could change pretty dramatically. But the one that has sort of come up so far is this idea of just enabling local governments to incentivize housing in some undefined manner near corridors that have underutilized transportation capacity. So, there are any number of ways, as all the local government folks in the room know, there are any number of ways that incentives could be provided or benefits of some type could be provided that are for projects that, are near existing transportation.
So are we thinking this is monetary from the state, because every entity has the ability to do that on their own internally, in reality?
Okay,
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
we'll-
trying to define what that really means.
we'll unpack it more. I mean, these are really intended to sort of put some markers in, now as opposed to any kind of specific language and before anything specific were to come up. So no, to be honest though, I don't think this arose with the idea that the state would be providing incentives, that this would be something more specific to local, governments. And again, same kind of thing, if there's any feedback on these, that's much appreciated as we potentially try to refine them. The priorities right now are in trying to make sure we get the strategy and positions right, that we get our lobbyist procurement started. And then as we move into October, through the executive committee and the board, we finalize the strategy and positions and get everything adopted formally. And then start having individual meetings with delegation. And then we will set the date as soon as possible, but hosting that regional legislative summit sometime in November or December. And then during the session, early in the session, host that statewide MPO reception. And then throughout the session, just have active engagement to try to advance the incremental goals and keep our position statements in the forefront. And Madam Chair, that's the presentation. I'm happy to explore any of these further or discuss what folks would like.
Are we okay with this going forward as it is?
I think so. I think we provided them with some.
Yeah.
Progress and stuff on that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Greg.
next is federal.
Yes, and we can exit the slides. We don't have any more slides. So we just put in the packet, the existing 2025 legislative or federal transportation positions that were adopted last October. Based on those, I think that they are still applicable and relevant given the current sort of situation in DC and status of reauthorization in DC and transportation policy in general in DC. I don't think there's any need to change them, but I did want to make sure that they go in front of the executive committee and then they'll also go to the board for reestablishment as the priorities. But we've been able to rely on these in conversations with staff in DC, as well as submittals to the House Committee looking at transportation. There's one due this afternoon to the Department of Transportation, where basically we're taking these position statements and formalizing them into just submittals on behalf of companies. So not recommending any changes for these.
Any comments, concerns, questions regarding the study with where we are? Good. Okay, and then the last item was just it's a memo regional transportation advisory committee. Any comments on that one?
No additional comment. Thank you.
Well, that was pretty quick. Very quick. Do we have anything else? I know this is all that's agendized. Any other discussion on the legislative side?
I'm just gonna we are gonna probably see some legislation as far as how the highway distribution funds are being distributed. Because of those of us that are in multiple counties, Eagle is just gonna figure this out. We discovered all the money is going into the Eagle County Highway District, which can't service us on the other county side. So you'll see some stuff come up, just so you're aware that it's just gonna be a minor change, just so we can make certain that we can utilize some of those funds on any time. And same thing for them on the Boise and Jim counties.
So as we start, and I've heard this maybe coming too, so as we start to actually see what that looks like, then that may be something that we would then just bring to the board and see. If
You will. I just want to let you guys know that's coming. It will be coming.
Okay.
So. And we talked about it yesterday, briefly about it, when she came out with it yesterday, so.
Well, there's fixes to be made. Probably the biggest thing has to do with funding.
Oh,
Just-
right.
It is, it's just funding and we hear it all the time. on funding. And so, I mean, this is just my opinion, this year when the legislature decided to go from 100 million cut to 400 million. Candidly, we should have been investing, that money should have gone to transportation. As for us as a city, the only way that we can really move forward is through impact fees. But impact fees are after the fact. And people are so frustrated that the only way we can get added improvements done, because we've got around a 17 million, I think it's around $17 million financial deficit on roads. So, although I have to say, Kansas, some of their roads need some improvement. They were,
Lots of
what'd you say,
roads.
Kansas, yeah. So, you can be ahead in some ways with the big infrastructure, with the exchanges, all the big stuff that needs to happen, but maintenance is the greatest challenge. I think, I don't know what others feel, but maintaining the roads, you've got the expansion of the roads, you've got the traffic signals, roundabouts, all that you need for growth, but you still have to maintain your roads. And that's where we have a challenge, is having the funds to maintain our roads. So, and if you don't maintain them well, they degrade faster. Although we do a good job with chip seal. We've expanded our chip seal.
Yeah, that's the most popular topic in our area
Yes.
from out of state.
Yes, that fix season.
You
Don't
extend your
understand
road
that
life.
concept.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had people come to my office that I need to pay for their windows.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah, we get.
because I put down a chip seal.
Right.
And they don't understand what
Why'd you do
maintenance
that?
projects, I don't know. Why I did that.
Then what if we get the ITD to straighten out their lines? You seen that line on Jenna Boulevard, but then you go.
Okay. I just noticed the
Terrible.
other day, they were like, oh,
Oh, yeah, the zigzags.
Just keep
Well,
you on,
it's-
it's to keep you on your toes, so it was intentional.
Get away.
It works, I notice it every time.
Agenda. Okay, so our agenda's done. I would stand for a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
We're adjourned. Okay. Well, then she can turn it off and then we can.
All right, man.
So meeting adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Hey.